All right. Good evening. So, somebody reached out the other day and was having an issue on Windows getting stuff to work. So, I'm going to try and go through and set up everything on Windows. I normally use Linux. Just make sure everything is streaming here, first of all, because it does not look like it. It says unstable. Okay. All right. Well, it says unstable. We'll see how we go here. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna set up a Windows. This is Windows 11. We're gonna try and get just a regular old. Where did I put it? Just ESP32 dev board to flash under Windows 11, and I'm gonna do it from scratch. So hopefully this maybe can help other people. This is my bit rate is like super bad. Well, we're gonna do our best. And my CPU is getting hot as well. New machine. Who knows? This whole thing could come crashing down. We'll just do our best. All right. So let's launch here. Not even here, actually. Windows is kind of like a hot mess nowadays. Uninstall VS Code. Like that's where we're going to start. VS Code. Yeah, like, I don't know. VS Code. Apps. Here we go. Search for VS Code apps in App Store. Let's do it. That's what I want. And we should be able to install. I don't know why it thinks my connection is so slow. I'm showing like 380 megs down. My, my CPU's running at 52C right now. You probably can't hear the fan because I got noise cancellation on. And I am running this for full transparency. I'm running Windows 11 on a machine over here. This isn't a virtual machine, it's an actual little mini PC over here running, and I'm just Ramina'd like remote desktop into it. So I'm running on an actual Windows 11 machine on hardware. It's not a virtual machine. Wow. So I'm really not a Windows hater. I spent probably the first 15 years of my career fully in Windows. I worked at Microsoft, had to obviously work on Windows there. But since, for IoT stuff that I do, Linux far and away, like I did Mac for a bit, but even Mac, the tooling is pretty close to Linux, but Docker is a huge one. You pay a Docker tax on Mac that you do not pay on Linux because it's pure native. And so I've gotten used to how fast things install on Linux, and that, like Visual Studio Code install just took, I don't even know, several minutes, which feels way too long. All right, so we've got Visual Studio Code installed. We're just going to see how long it takes us to get up and running here. And you'll have to excuse my slow moving around here because, like I said, this is not pin to start. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, where did it end up going? I kind of like it to just be on the desktop. Whatever. Just launch it. Okay. Choose your theme. Dark modern. Great. Rich support. Yeah, I don't really want to do. We don't need to do any of this. Let's just mark them all as done. Okay, great. All right. Let's mess around with this. Yeah, on side. There's not one for just full screen. If you just go to the top, it full screens it, I guess. It's not like catching my drop correctly. Oh, let's just kind of open it up like this. Okay, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to install an extension. Again, I typically like to do dev container development for ESP32 on Linux. So I run the full environment is in a Docker container, but that does not work well on Windows. I spent 2 hours trying to do that once. It was not great. So, nay, Zeld. What's up? I knew you'd drop in. This is gonna be super boring, so won't hurt my feelings at all. You drop out of here. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's install it. Wish you could hear my fan. I actually don't wish you could hear my fan because it's annoying, but it's like throttling like a jet engine over here to try and keep my CPU cool. Yes. Okay, that's it. Installed. And I guess it just picks a version of IDF. Said I normally lock all this stuff in an image, so I don't know how the extension works, but whatever. And we need to get ourselves a project to play around with, so let's go github.com/maker crew. And we're gonna do, oh, where did I thought it was in here. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it was one of my own. ESP32. See, I mean, we could do one of these. Specifically, the one I wanted to do. Oh, I put it under deploy the fleet. That's why. Slash deploy the fleet. There we go. Arduino BLE provisioning. And I don't want to mess around with Git. Like, open with GitHub Desktop. Do I want to do that? Well, whatever. We'll try it. Ugh. All right. We're going to go through the Windows process here. No, I hate it. Okay. Open file. Open file. Installation has failed. It's because it launched twice, because after clicking, I'm just used to the snappiness. GitHub Desktop is being installed. It'll launch once it's done. Okay. I guess we just wait then. I could have downloaded the zip file by now. Hey. So, like, this is, I don't want to sign into GitHub on this machine. Oh, wait, skip this step. Cool. Your name. Test machine. Yeah, like I don't want to have any personal information on this machine. It's just a test machine. Clone a repository from the internet. Sign in. No, let's just use the URL. Okay. Come back here. Do code. Copy the URL. And it's going to put it in documents, GitHub. Yeah, sure, whatever. Phone. All right, we're getting there. Because what was happening was somebody on a YouTube video was having a hard time. I built this repository to help people get Arduino BLE provisioning working on an ESP32. Like dead simple, 10 minutes. You should be able to get to a point where you can use the Espressif app, like the off-the-shelf app, to provision Wi-Fi credentials on your ESP32. Um, and it works great. However, it's like 6 months old. For all I know, on new versions of IDF, it might not work. There could be issues there. Submodules. Yeah, it's got to pull down like the full Arduino. So that's nice that it does a recursive by default. So it's cool. All right. Oh, 26%. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. So the Arduino ESP32 repo is gigantic. It's huge, huge, huge. Um, so yeah, that's gonna take a while. I mean, it shouldn't take too long, but I had forgotten it was huge. In the meantime, I really would like to know, like, if I just launch a terminal here. Oh, it's PowerShell. Can I do like idf.py version? Oh, it is really thinking hard about that. Yeah, okay. Wow, that kind of took a while. So let's do Control Shift P, which brings up the command. Let's do ESP-IDF. And then let's see what we've got here. Configure paths like device, doctor, erase. Let's do ESP-IDF like clear saved IDF setup. Configure IDF extension. Let's do that. It seems like it just got updated. To see what's new? No, I don't want to see what's new. Okay. Let's see. Choose ESP-IDF, tools directory, Python executable. I don't think we need that. I would like to choose the version. All right, let's do Express. Sure, GitHub. Oh, show tags. Ah, here we go. That's the version. Yeah, so I don't need to see all the tags, I guess. But let's do shoot. What version was? Sorry, I gotta run over to YouTube real quick. See the guy that was having the issue. No, it wasn't YouTube. It was in my email. See what version of IDF he was using. What version of IDF? I use 4.4.7. Although he could do 5.2. Let's do, I don't even remember what I built the project for. Do I say in here? Oh man, this is hard to read. I don't know if I can like that bigger. It's still kind of gross. Well, I have a dev container folder, so I can tell you exactly what version I built this on. That's what's nice about Docker. And 4.4. And I check out some version of that. So let's do 4.4.7 because that'll be closest. 4.4.7 release version. Users, sure. Install. All right. And I'm going to just hop over here and plug this into my Windows machine and put it in download mode. Okay. Let's see. That's going to take a bit. I will have to watch this back because it's still saying my bitrate sucks. So I'll have to troubleshoot that later. My OBS says I have dropped no frames, so that's good to see. Source. Oh, man. Well, I said I was doing it from scratch, so we're doing it from scratch. We're just going to have to eat all the time that it takes to download stuff. And see how we do. I suppose I can open a folder in the meantime. Which was where? Documents. No, it was case said GitHub. Why am I just not seeing it? No local changes. Okay, so this is down. Oh, it puts it in OneDrive document? Oh, Microsoft. I don't have OneDrive. Oh, I do have OneDrive because I used my old. Well, I hate that, Windows. I know it's trying to be helpful, but I hate that. Now it's backing up to whatever. Documents, GitHub. And this is the folder. Select. Okay, well, what sucks there is I thought it would just open it up. Okay, it still is. There we go. Do I want to install dev containers? No. Did it not? Get not found. I don't want to mess with that right now. I gotta do this all over again. I like interrupted the. Great. Great. All right. Wow. Oh, Tech Happy, thanks for chiming in. That you can still read the text even with crappy bitrate. That's good to hear. Yeah, OneDrive. Again, I'm not a Windows. I've been out of the Windows ecosystem for a number of years. I know they want you to use OneDrive, and I guess that's a fine default setup for most people. I don't know. I hate when things are automatically backing up your stuff. Like maybe I don't want it backed up to the cloud where it will be hacked by foreign governments in 10 seconds. Because that's just how everything works nowadays. This is going to be a slog. 8%. So one of the things, I'll just use the time that this is downloading to give my pitch for a lot of people don't understand like why I like to use Docker for development. And so this is an example, not that you don't have to download things, but you can create a Docker image that has all these dependencies in it. You download it once, so you still have that one-time hit, but it's everything is locked, like the exact commit of ESP-IDF. Everything is in a pristine, brand new computer state for anybody who has your repository to reproduce. So you never have to worry about, oh, you're two commits behind on IDF, and so things don't match up or whatever else it may be. It is a perfect replica that anybody, the only thing they have to do is download it. And once they download it, it's just VS Code will run that image in a dev container, and you're up and going. All the tools are installed, everything you need to follow along. Um, Again, I'd like to say it's faster than this. It feels faster than this. This is feeling super slow, but that's probably because I'm streaming it and everything feels slow. I love that project. Tech Happy ESP32 BLE Nintendo Switch controller. Um, some game anti cheats hate the virtual machine. Something. Oh, that's interesting. I've been messing around a bunch with Bluetooth BLE, not classic BLE on ESP32. It is once you go down all the rabbit holes, it's pretty cool, but there is a ton to figure out and settings wise and all these other things. But it's for a company I'm working for, doing a bunch with BLE. Super cool. All right, well, again, I apologize for the time. We're just going to sit back and enjoy this very nice, slow. I mean, I'm trying to think of this. What is this? 100? Let me do the KB. So 1,000, that'll be 5 megs. So 1.4 gigs is essentially what we're pulling down right now, which is about the size. I don't know. While it's doing that, let me pull up terminal. Let me just look at my images, like my dev container images. That's for ADF and IDF, but that's the full dev container. I mean, it's about the same size. I mean, because you have all those dependencies installed in it. My dev container images are like 3 gigs, it shows. But the image gets built locally the first time. So anyway, while this is downloaded, Platform IO, Tech Happy. I do not use Platform IO. I used it once on a project that I contracted on, but otherwise I just do raw IDF in VS Code. So while we're waiting on that, let's just make use of time here. Dev container. So the way I set this up in VS Code is I've got a Docker file that builds the image, and then this dev container JSON, which is specific to VS Code, that tells VS Code how to then take that Docker file and build a development environment. Again, this will not work on Windows. Even with WSL, I spent a lot of hours trying to figure this out, and you get like massive performance and buggy issues for no gain. And so I think it's easier just to do what we're doing here and install the extension. But yes, and that's a great question, Gabby. Can you do a hardware flashing in a Docker container? Yes, actually on Linux you can, and on Mac I was doing it as well. Windows, no dice. But yeah, I actually, as part of my dev containers, it loads the hardware. It mounts the port, the USB port, and so I flash it, erase them, do everything you can do with IDF.py or ESP tool. You can do inside of my dev containers, and I'll show you that here. So the Docker file is you create, an image. It's just running Debian stable slim, so it's just a Linux machine. You have to add a user so that everything doesn't switch to root on you outside. So when you mount in source code, you just install all the different dependencies you want to use, just like you would on a clean Linux machine. And then here's sort of the IDF magic. You clone it, do recursive. I check out a specific commit or tag. I do tags now. I should update this project to check out a tag instead of a commit hash. Actually, I take that back. The reason I do commit is because Espressif notoriously, on at least 3 or 4 occasions, has broken me because I was pinned to a release tag, but they add commits to it without changing it. So when you when you clone a repo with a release, like for example, release v4.4 this week, and then you do it again 2 weeks from now, 4.4 is kind of old and stable, but if you do this on the 5x, you'll get different code, often breaking changes, I've found, which sucks. And then this sets up, IDF target, IDF path, tools path, all this other stuff. And so, and then in the dev container, it just loads it up. And then this is sort of the magic right here. I pass in my dev TTY USB 0, which is typically, you would just change this to whatever your ESP32 enumerates as. And then it is in the container, and you can, like I said, run IDF-PI, ESP tool, all those things, and communicate directly with your dev board. So I like that. And like I said, on Linux, it's natively supported, so it works. I mean, you just feels like you're in a shell of a Linux machine, except all the dependencies are hard fixed, and you don't have to worry about having a mismatched version of Python or ESP-IDF or some other weird dependency issue. It's all locked, it's tied in the image, and so I really like that for my ESP32 development. And again, I do raw IDF right in VS Code. I do not do platform IO. I know a lot of people love platform IO. I haven't found a real benefit to it. I mean, it's adding layers. It's layers of abstraction that are really helpful, but I find those layers in projects that I've worked on tend to get in the way. I have to figure out why this new feature that's supported in IDF hasn't made it upstream to or downstream, that would be, to platform IO. And so I run into things there. And so I've never had an issue of just using straight IDF, configuring it that way, and getting the full access to that tool set without having to figure out how do I do this thing in an INI file for platform IO to enable some features. So again, I know lots of people use it, love it. That's awesome. It's just not for me. Yeah, Tech Happy chiming in. Issues in the past with platform IO compatibility with certain frameworks, and most of the things I've seen on platform IO support forums are people trying to figure out how to do very basic IDF things in platform IO. Like it's super easy and trivial to do it, but you have to figure out like the incantation of the INI and some other things to make it work in platform IO. So, oh, we are so close. Of course, this is the IDF, the tools. That's just this step. We got 2 more steps to go here. I'm positive this would not take as long with the dev container stuff. Like I built the contain, you built the image from scratch, and it does not take this long. Wow. Is downloaded, great. Getting spinny. We're not going to install the dev containers extension. I'm hoping this. Now I'm worried. Well, I was gonna say haven't seen you in a while. You haven't seen me in a while. First, I think this is first stream of 2024. All right. Well, now I have no indication of where our progress is. I just have spinny wheels all the way top to bottom. Which is always fun. I did a stream on this last year, year and a half ago, where I show how to do the Docker setup. Man, I should, whenever I put this over on YouTube, I should link that video up just to show the difference in ease of getting set up. This is wild. I wonder how fast, let's see. Again, for those that are just joining, I'm on this like a Virgin Windows 11 box. It's a mini PC that I just installed Windows 11 like 3 days ago on. Wonder how. Yeah, I mean, look at that. It's getting. Can't tell me it's taking long because my download speed's slow. That is not slow. That's right where I would expect it to be. So Let's hold up here, guys. Okay, well, clicking. I'm afraid to click out of anything now. Is it still using CPU? That's a great question. Windows. What was that? Process Explorer? I don't remember how to do this in Windows anymore. This is not what I want, but system. Oh, no, Task Manager. Task Manager, that was called. Task Manager. There it is. Wow. Yes, used to work at Microsoft. And I couldn't remember Task Manager. What are we looking at? Visual Studio Code. No, Visual Studio Code is cranking on the CPU. So it's still doing something. Okay, and every time I click, like it redraws the screen in a different. Yeah, ESPF is down. Like I click around here and it just changes the layout of stuff. I don't even know what. Let's try clicking on all these things. Try clicking on that. I don't know. Click on that, it disappears. I guess that's like expand, not expanded. Yeah, wild. Um, ugh. You know, every time I have issues like this, which is basically every time I use Windows, I tell people I had this experience. This is like two decades ago, 20 years ago, when I was hating on Macs, early Macs, and there was a guy that just loved Mac. And all I did was try to do simple tasks on it. And he kept getting so frustrated and telling me, "You're doing it wrong." And it's like, I just tried to click on the thing and it crashed. Like, and so I made fun. I was making fun of him. Like, well, you click on it and show me that it doesn't crash. And I feel like the same thing is with Windows lately. Like, I want to love Windows so much. Side note: I own Microsoft stock, and that stuff is a gold mine. I highly recommend it. This is not financial investment advice, but Microsoft stock is going to treat you right. I'm going to tell you that right now. But so I want to love Windows, but I feel like this is the experience I have every time, and I know that there's Windows people out there that are looking at me and just shaking their fists of like, "You're doing it wrong," and what am I doing wrong? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I just tried to install the Espressif extension in VS Code, and that's not a Windows thing, right? This is probably a VS Code / Espressif ESP-IDF extension issue, but I wouldn't have to be doing this if I was on Linux or Mac. Just saying. All right, I don't know when we hit the kill switch on this. Uh, I could have manually cloned the repo and installed it myself in this time, which maybe we ought to consider. Ugh. Okay. I don't want to be on master. Let's go to 4.4.7. Well, I've got to specify the thing anyway, so let's just copy that. I don't normally use what clone repository. Here we go. And let's change this path. And get rid of the stupid OneDrive-ness. Documents. Nope. Nope. It's still changing me. This PC. I mean, this is wild. Let's create a folder here. That's the folder we want to clone into. Okay. But, and so like, I would do this, if I was doing this from the command line, which is how I would always do it, I could specify the release, but I don't know how to do it in desktop. Like, can I just add? Just see if I can. Now GitHub desktop, VSCode. Let's come back and check on it. Oh, we've got, okay. We're making progress. Look at this. It is downloading and installing tools. Yeah, some better visual indication there would be helpful. There was an ongoing joke at Microsoft that people who write the installers for things are the top men. Indiana Jones reference if you haven't seen it. It's probably true of all installers. And I get it. You don't spend a ton of time polishing the install. As long as it gets everything installed, it's fine, but it sucks when you are going through it. Installing 3 of 13. Extracting. What are we up to now? 37 minutes. This is not good. If you're a Windows user and you are starting from scratch, if you're on Linux, you can go from nothing to ESP-IDF programming your ESP32 in 10 minutes flat. Guaranteed. I should do another stream to show it. Fresh install. 15 minutes if you have slower internet. If you're on Windows, I'm sorry. You're probably an hour plus. Set aside the time. All right, I'm going to give one. The installer for Visual Studio Code got me a noise complaint in college because I was yelling at it. I thought you were going to say because the fans were running so loud. It sounded like a jet taking off. To be fair, I'm going to switch to like making fun of and complaining to be fair to Microsoft VSCode. I love VSCode in Windows. This is a sort of being fair. This is a mini PC. Like I fell into the trap of like Raspberry Pis are. I owned so many first, second, third gen Raspberry Pis like before anybody was buying them. We did a ton of work on them back at IoT Core at Microsoft. But now they're crazy expensive to get up and running. It's like it's cheaper to buy or very close to buying one of these new mini PCs, little teeny boxes, where you get a much more powerful machine with all the peripherals and everything. Anyway, so I fell into that trap. I bought one, and so while we're doing that, let's look at the specs on this. It could be that this is not a particularly powerful piece of hardware, and so like all this extracting. The downloading is downloading. That should be faster than it was. But extracting, where I'm using CPU and stuff, yeah, see, like we're running on a sweet Intel Celeron J4125 at 2 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM. But like I said, only partially being fair here to Windows because Pop! OS Linux on these specs screams, and I can tell you that because I had Pop! OS installed on it before the weekend when I spent hours getting Windows 11 installed. It was a nightmare. If you have formatted your hard drive to X4, which is what Linux does by default, and then you try to come in after the fact with a Windows thumb drive installer, good luck. Um, oof, that was rough. And now I've done something. Okay, the IDF tools are all installed. Okay, cool. And now there's nothing to expand here. Installing Python virtual environments. Wow. At the end of this, fingers crossed, we will be able to flash this code on to our ESP32. Ugh. Yeah, under components here, I had to. I think this was the one where I have a custom. See, like terminal, I just did control backtick to do terminal like that. That was like 6 seconds to launch a terminal. That was crazy. And I'm so used to this being, it's not going to recognize Git, is it? I have Git desktop installed. It asked me, VS Code asked me if I want to install Git. I closed it. I did want to install Git. Um, bleh. Well, if I just open one of these files, it actually should tell me. Nope. Yeah, get Bellum. No way. That was going to take like 4 hours. We don't have time for that. ESP-IDF has been configured. We did it. I want to thank the Academy. Thanks everybody for sticking around for 43 minutes to get the extension installed. Wow. Okay. Now that we have it, and I've got this project open, we'll actually come down here to ESP. Configure, nope. New project, nope. Set target, no. Like, let's just start with trying to do build. Can we build? Let's just hit build and see what happens. Building project. I do not want to install CMake tools right now. Found Git. Wait, it found Git. But the PowerShell out of the box isn't gonna know to look for it in .espressif tools IDF Git 239. Yeah, I get it. Okay, it's trying to build. Let's come back over here and see what this thing's doing. That I would have expected. Yeah, that's true. I could add it to path. Where I would have expected more output here. Like, okay, it found Git. Good job. You did good. Now, did you start trying to run IDF Pi build? Maybe? Where are we at here? The C compiler. It just figured out where the C compiler was. Okay, here we go. That. was a crazy long time just to start. Yikes. Oh man. I don't know if this is just because the machine is so underpowered. No, nope. I don't believe that. Because again, I had Pop! OS installed and this thing, I mean, it's not winning any speed awards, but it was fine. So it's going to do a full build, which I am really depressed at how, I don't know how, if that's too small for you guys to see on the stream. They're 41 out of 1484. This feels like it's going to take a really long time to build. It'll do a full build first time through, and then it will, as long as you don't change anything via menu config, it'll just do incremental builds after. So if this builds and flashes, I think we'll be in business. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time to, I think his name was Nabil, who reached out and was saying he was having a hard time getting this project to build on Windows. I'm just going to dump him a link to the hour-long YouTube video of me going through it. Because I feel like it should work. I mean, it should just work. Oh, man, this is... It seriously did take me about 5 hours to get Windows 11 installed on this mini PC. I kind of wish I had set it up for dual boot just to do the whole thing from scratch on the same hardware in Linux to see how long it took. Um, so that, you know, I'm not comparing this machine to my, you know, tower desktop over here that's overpowered. Alrighty. While we're waiting, the entire purpose of this particular project that I cloned and that we're looking at is so that you can then, once it's running, you can just open the ESP provisioning app. Oh, yeah, anyway, the ESP provisioning app, um, and use it. It's just in the App Store for both Android and iOS, and you can, you know, for your own hobby projects, you can use this app to get Wi-Fi credentials on it. So it's kind of cool. Um, and then, of course, you know, what I did for one of the products I built was I just took this code from Espressif as a starting point, reskinned it. I can actually show you that. A little hockey puck side project. So, like, I just reskinned it. I've got my logo and stuff there. But when you hit next and click through the dialogues are all the same. They're slightly modified skin wise to match the brand and things like that. But behind the scenes, all the code is the exact same as what Espressif publishes publicly on their GitHub. So that's what this project specifically is for you to not have to hard code your credentials or use soft AP. It's BLE Wi-Fi provisioning with your ESP32. So, and in fact, you know, I could actually use my own app or the Espressif one to flash it with this firmware. I mean, that's how much they share the, you know, the underlying code. It's really just changing the look and feel to match whatever, you know, your company branding is. All right, we are about halfway there on the build. And it should hopefully just flash over top everything and we will be all set. But while we're waiting, let me come in and look. I can't remember what my main um okay, it gives you some updates on like what it's doing. So we'll do an IDF Pi monitor, flash monitor. Yeah, so this is basically, once it's provisioned with credentials, it'll just say connected to Wi-Fi and ready to run main application and then delay, and it just prints that over and over and over. This is the, you know, replace with your code. And then when it's not provisioned, it just says waiting for credentials over and over. All right, we're at 865 out of 1400. And again, let's look and see. Yeah, so it's I mean, it's kind of using the CPU. I would expect it to be jamming a little bit more, but I think it's funny that when we're looking at CPU percentage, this anti-malware service executable is dominating most of the CPU time. I love Windows. All right. We're getting there. Let's see. We're at 50 minutes and 58 seconds. So call it 51 minutes of stream time. If we could have this thing programmed before an hour of stream time, that would be a miracle. It's also getting to be my bedtime. Yep. Okay. So I got a brand new, I switched to a tower. I switched off a laptop to a tower, like went big on specs. And I've got, you can't see it, but up in my Pop! OS top bar, status bar here, I've got, it keeps track of like the average temperature. And I guess I could look at, is it a specific core or something that's getting hot? Yeah, so my average temperature is like 54 degrees C. Some of my CPU cores are running in the 70s. Core 16 is running at 79C. Core 20 is running at 77C. It feels high. Like the average temperature when I'm just idle messing around is around 31, 34C. So I'm like 20 degrees C higher just from it's OBS. Like it goes to that temperature when I open OBS, and if I close OBS, it'll go back down into the 30s. But OBS shows me that it's using 1.7% CPU. So like those things don't add up. And I'm curious as to what the like let's take a look at our CPUs. Like there's no way that OBS is using 2% CPU and my graphs look like this. That just doesn't check out. So either OBS is lying or something else is going on. Yeah, Tower PC. So used to build PCs, but then I turned into old man and was like, don't have time for it. And then I went to laptops. Framework. If you've not done framework, I have like a real problem. Framework laptops I buy like candy, which I was using as my main driver. But this one is just a System 76 machine. It's a Thelio Mira because I wanted something that supposedly somebody had already done all the figuring out, make sure the motherboard matches the CPU and memory and all that's compatible, and it's been okay. It has shut down on me a couple times just when all 32 threads go at like a compilation task. But yeah, so it's let me just do about here. This is so sorry. I'm overlaying my actual Pop! OS over top my streaming window here. 128 gigs of memory, processors Intel Core i9 14900K, 32 thread, 16 core, I suppose. I've got an NVIDIA GeForce 4060 Ti in here, and I've got a whole bunch of drives. Like I've got a 2 terabyte M2 drive, a 2 terabyte SS SATA SSD, and a 2 terabyte spinny 7200 RPM for backup. But yeah, all sitting in a case here. I think that's about it. Can't remember the name of the motherboard. It is a Gigabyte, I want to say, but I can't remember the model number on it. Look at that. Well, it says total image size, like it's at the end of the build, but it's not saying like the done part. Come on, get all the way over the finish line. I close this. All right, while it's doing that, I'm gonna help Nazeld here. I'll show you the exact machine that it is. It's not the major. It is the Mira. And then I basically just went into the custom and jacked it up. Yeah, so it's 24 core, 32 thread. I went 128 gigs of DDR5. It's got the GeForce, mine's 4060. So based on the graphics, obviously you go up or down on price. And I did not do 32 terabytes of storage. Okay, did we finish? It feels like, oh, you know what? It is done. It doesn't go back because I didn't run ESP. Cool, we're good. We're good. Let's flash and monitor. Erase and flash, monitor. Let's do monitor. I think it'll automatically flash when you do monitor. Is that true? We're gonna try it. Let's do it. Oh, comp. You know what? I bet money that we need a driver because it's Windows. You do not on Linux. It will just. Ugh. That sucks. Oh, yeah, nice. The graphics cards are not cheap nowadays. Oh, we're going to have to chat about this build that you're doing. We'll talk. Yeah, CP212N, it does not recognize because we are missing the driver. Okay. 2102N, another step. Again, I'm not trying to hit on Windows. This is not a step you have to do on Linux. It will recognize it out of the box. O2 driver and Silicon Labs. Downloads. Windows Universal. This is what we need. Let's go to the folder. And let's it's been a while since I've done. I feel like you have to do like this unblock and apply. And then we extract all. Yeah, whatever. Extract. And then I don't remember Windows batch file, update param. I don't think this is, I think we come back over to here. Do property. Oh, wait, no. Can't. I could have done it from right there. Update driver. Browse. We've got to go to, where was it? Downloads? Yeah, right here. Okay. Next. Installing drivers. Silicon Labs. Great. Cool. Now it should show up as like com something. Ah, look at that. Com 3? Com 3. Okay. I regret to inform you we have passed the 1 hour stream mark. We didn't make it. We tried. Let's see if we can do monitor or if we got to restart VSCode or something. Com 1. I don't. Oh, wait. You can set the com port. ESP com. No, it's what is it? Select ports to use. Com 3. Pick works. Yeah, this workspace. Okay, com 3. Can I do like a flash device monitor? Oh yeah, I got these little shortcuts. Oh, build flash and monitor. Yeah, fire. I want to do the fire thing. Oh, please don't try to build from scratch again. Okay, build should be done. Oh, what do we want to flash over? Let's do UART. Executing. It looks like it's connected to my ESP32 that's plugged in over here. Off screen, you can't see that. Oh my goodness. I think we're almost to the end. Please be almost to the end. Flash done. Monitor should kick in. That's all the load stuff. Look at this. Connected to Wi-Fi and ready to run main application. The reason for that is because it already has Wi-Fi credentials stored in it. And so the way we can fix that, if we look at partition CSV, NVS, this partition right here is where your ESP32 stores its Wi-Fi credentials. So what we can do is we can erase the flash region from offset hex 9000, a size of hex 4000, and that will get rid of the credentials because right now you can see it's connected, ready to run. I know how to do this by heart using ESP-tool.py. I do not know how to do it with the extension. And so I don't want to do erase flash. I want to do what's called an erase region. Okay, we're gonna do this, which should kick us out. I think if we do, all right, I'm gonna just try and use my translate this to Windows. If we do a C users cased OneDrive, no, not OneDrive. It's actually is it going to be in the Espressif? Dist? No, I think it's going to be here. ESP, yes. What do we got? No, v4.4.7. I'm just going to have to CD to it. I'm not giving up now. We are so close. ESP. LS. What is LS in Windows? It's not LS. It's dir. Okay. CD v4.4.7. Liquid cooling. Okay, yeah, we definitely got to talk because I was just researching liquid cooling today. And so we're going to discuss that. Yes, you and I. Next time we see each other, we're talking liquid cooling. ESP-IDF. I think this is where we want to be. Yes, export.bat. Okay. But we're in PowerShell. Are we in PowerShell? Let's just try to run export.bat. Okay. What that does is we should be able to do idf.py version 1.0.3. That seems wrong. Please tell us about your experience. Don't talk to me anymore. ESP tool.py. Nope, it didn't like that at all. Node? Why is it running Node? What? Can we just run ESP-tool.py? Node. It's dying on Node. Why would a Python program... What on earth? Why? Why? Where I go? It's not doc. Yeah, it was documents. Dev. Oh, it's in the other stupid thing. It's in the OneDrive. Well, it shouldn't matter. Like, tool.py. Hold on a second. Okay, we're back. I have no idea why it's trying to run Node.js. Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. Let's come in back over to PowerShell. Let's try this. Yeesh. Users, yes. Nope, we gotta do cased, ESP, 4.4.7, and then we're gonna run export ESP-IDF. That's it. Daggone it. Nope, starting to get late. Somebody just get me what I need. This PowerShell. Export.ps1. /export. Nope. .ps1. Syntax error. Cannot be loaded because running scripts is disabled on this system. Let's try bat. The following tools are not installed in your environment. Can we just get like a command prompt? Like prompt that has everything? This is insane. I don't know how to erase region with IDF. You know what? Why are we erasing all this? Let's just erase the whole flash. This is stupid. I'm trying to be like pro ESP32 here. Let's just blow away the entire flash. This is dumb. Okay, flash memory content has been erased. Now let's click the fire icon again. It's gonna not build because it's already built. So it'll flash. It's gonna reflash the bootloader, everything. And now it should say, finally, after 1 hour and 9 minutes, it's a new record on Windows. We should be able to come into this thing that I told you about an hour ago and provision our device. Wow. Okay, the point of all this, though, is for the person that I was trying to help with this, it's working. Like, if you just install everything on Windows, clone the repo, I made 0 changes to it, clone it, build it with the extension, everything works just fine. As you can see, it says waiting for Wi-Fi credentials, open app to get started. It's going to keep saying that over and over and over. Give credentials of your access point using the Espressif app. So watch this. We're going to open up that Espressif app. We're going to do this low tech. Here it is. It's opened. I'm going to click on provision device. It's going to say, I want to look for a QR code with your camera. I'm going to say, I don't have a QR code. I need to change the prefix up at the top, because in this example, the prefix is DTF, stands for deploy the fleet, a service that I have created. So I'm changing the prefix to DTF. I'm hitting refresh. It is searching for BLE devices and found none. Is it really? Did I lie about that? Is it really not DTF on the prefix? Prov underscore DTF. Okay. As you can see right here, that's my prefix, prov underscore DTF. All right, all caps, prov underscore DTF. Now I hit searching for BLE devices. And as you can see, I've got a prov DTF device. It's that blue thing right there. I'm going to click on that. Again, this is all happening with the built-in Espressif libraries. It's going to say enter your proof of possession PIN. As you can see in the code, I will make it a little bigger for you. Right there where my cursor is, my proof of possession PIN is ABCD1234, which is what the app defaults. So I will just click next. Now it's going to connect to the device, and it's going to tell the device, please scan for Wi-Fi networks nearby. And so the ESP32 right now is scanning for available Wi-Fi networks. And didn't return any, which is weird. So I'm going to hit refresh, and it should send it again. Okay, not getting any networks returned, which is interesting. But I did get this like BTHCI disconnect reason 13, which tells me that it may have lost its Bluetooth connection, probably because I was yapping along too long. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna hit the reboot button. And that was the boot button, reset button. All right, there you go. You're seeing it spew out all the things. Give your credentials to the app. All right, I'm gonna try this again. Provision, I don't have a QR code. Scanning for devices. It has found a device. I'm gonna click on it. It's saying connecting to device. My proof of possession PIN is ABCD1234. Next. And then it disconnects. It seems like it disconnects. No, it didn't. Okay, I've got a whole list of Wi-Fis there. You can see. I'm going to click on my special IoT network. Password Juicero2. Inside joke. If you don't know, you don't know. Juicero2. Provision. And it's going to say sending Wi-Fi credentials. You can see things are like happening here. And ta-da! Look at that. Provisioning successful. And then it releases the Bluetooth memory, and now we've got our message here, connected to Wi-Fi and ready to run main application. I got all check marks on the app here. Again, this is just the Espressif app, straight out of the box, nothing that I built, but works nicely with the firmware that I built. So, my apologies. Thank you to everybody that's made it this far. You're amazing. The whole point of that was to get this set up on Windows and to see if the project actually built and worked using current, using the current version of the extension with 4.4.7. It seems to, and we are now connected to Wi-Fi and ready to run main application. So, all right. And that's all it takes to set up your ESP32 development environment on Windows 11. Thanks for joining. And I'm going to call it a night, go to bed. Going to try and stream. I want to stream again this and do this on Linux to show the difference. So anyway, everybody have a great rest of your day or evening, whatever it may be. And we'll catch you next time.